Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Thursday, July 28th, 2016. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. Joined, as always, on Thursdays by Steve Wiltfong. And, Steve, it is gray, overcast, Gem City love. How about Indy?
Good morning, Daniel, Bucknutters. I am actually in the city of Muncie, Indiana, the shadow of Ball State University. Chirp, chirp. Any Ball State grads listening that are Ohio State fans? It's a new era here. Mike New, the new head coach, maybe the best football player in Ball State history. My wife's dad was, I believe, the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach at Ball State when Mike New played. And his roots are posted up here in Muncie. And that's where I am here with my nieces and nephews. But it's a nice day out. Probably going to be another scorcher. A couple days, I go on vacation. But excited to talk Ohio State. I think Ohio State's going to get a major commitment before I go on vacation, and I leave on Saturday.
All right, even I can handle that with my education. First of all, for those of you who love Ball State, Dan Palambizio and Paris McCurdy. Google it, and everybody drink. But seriously, folks, let's talk about that. We will get to, obviously, Steve was at Friday Night Lights and all the hullabaloo that went with that. We will get to that. But anyone who's on the site has seen that Emory Jones, the class of 2018 quarterback and Ohio State's top quarterback on the board for the class of 2018, has announced that we've reported that he's going to announce his commitment tomorrow. And all signs point towards the good guys. Obviously, we can't confirm that. Things could change. A fair assessment of the situation, Mr. You broke the news?
Yeah, I'm hearing that he will announce by tomorrow. Got a source this morning, talked to on the phone that said expect something by tomorrow. I'm expecting it to be Ohio State because that's what my 24/7 Sports crystal ball says for the number 2 ranked dual threat quarterback in the country per 24/7 Sports. And here's the thing that I really like about Emory in talking to people close to him. Emory, in addition to his outstanding skill set, just a great athlete at the quarterback position with a live arm. And this is a guy that, has had this as a goal since he was 9 or 10. And he has a chip on his shoulder. And no matter how high we have him ranked, and he's in the 40s right now overall, Emory Jones, in his mind, he thinks he's the number 1 player in the country, number 1 quarterback in the country. And the consensus number 1 player in the country right now is in the same state as Emory Jones right now and Trevor Lawrence. So he's competing with that as well, in my opinion, just to be the best, to be number 1. And that guy that people say is better than him is in his own state, And so I like everything about Emory Jones, from his talent to his demeanor. Kind of got a JT Barrett-like presence to him, a quiet guy but an extreme competitor, or at least that's the way JT comes across. Maybe he's not quiet in the locker room or what have you, but just my experience being around JT when he was at Elite 11 a couple of years ago, he was all business. Emory Jones appears to be all business also. And so I think he'll be a great fit at Ohio State with his skill set if he does choose the Buckeyes.
If you go back and watch the tape on Emory Jones from this past season, and I did, he is a dead ringer for Barrett. I mean, he's a little bit more, his arm might be a little bit stronger and he might be a little bit quicker, but you will have to force yourself to not do the JT Barrett comparison thing when you check him out. So, if he has the mental that JT has and a little bit better physical, I mean, everyone I talked to who saw all the quarterbacks throw at Friday Night Lights and transition to that spoke extremely highly of him, as in he was probably the top quarterback prospect there in their opinion. So that should be very fun to watch.
I thought the top 2 quarterbacks on the field in that setting on that day, it was Emory and then Theo Day, who's from Michigan. He's a 2018 also. He's out of Dearborn and plays at Divine Child. He's a big, strong kid that I wouldn't be surprised ended up at like a Michigan State. So that was a really good quarterback group. We obviously had Tate Martell and Danny Clark, the 2 Ohio State 2017 commits, throwing in that group, and then some younger guys that have some promise. But those two 2018s are pretty damn good, and I could see them going head-to-head inside the shoe down the road.
So we know all about Emory Jones. Obviously, keep it locked and loaded to Bucknuts. If we were there first for this, we'll be there first for that. Your other impressions of Friday Night Lights, we've covered it incredibly. We have had media days in between here, so some of the content's got pushed back, but Friday Night Lights, from all intents and purposes, very successful, obviously with the commitments. Chase Young, Brian Sneed. What else jumped out to you in walking around, catching the vibe, et cetera?
Well, they're going to get more commits from Friday Night Lights. That was just the beginning. I think that the Friday Night Lights visit for Emory Jones, if he does pick Ohio State, I think that was the visit that did it. I think Friday Night Lights sealed it for him. Tyjon Lindsey and Trayvon Grimes, I think they were coming to Ohio State even before Friday Night Lights. But this visit didn't hurt any, and watching those two guys walk into the shoe with Austin Mack and Benjamin Victor, Dan, that's a hell of a receiver corps when you're thinking down the road. Lamont Wade, my crystal ball, my 24/7 Sports crystal ball says Penn State, but there's absolutely no question Ohio State's, always been a top contender for one of the top corners in the nation, a top 247 recruit, arguably the top player in Pennsylvania. Oh man, there's going to be some 2018s, more 2018s that end up at Ohio State that were walking around. So it's always just a fantastic atmosphere. I enjoyed hanging out with Bill and Dave Biddle and Hellwagon and chopping it up with Buckeyes fans. Had to have been over 1,000 people there, and just a lot of guys very knowledgeable who was on the field competing. Tyjon Lindsey put on a show in one-on-ones. He was outstanding. I know when I left the shoe, talking to some people on the field, they were raving about Brian Sneed, and then my phone died. And so I have an iPhone, and I put it on the charger in my car, but it took a few minutes for it to juice up. And when it juiced up, I saw Bill Kurlick report Brian Sneed committed to Ohio State. And so the Buckeyes hit on one of their top targets. Tony Alford had been recruiting Brian Sneed for a couple of years. So that was a deal where Brian Sneed felt comfortable with the staff. It was, does Ohio State live up to everything Tony Alford says it would, and it did, and he committed. And that was a big get, number 4 running back in the country for 24/7 Sports. So now Ohio State will go all in on the number 1 kid from North Carolina, the number 1 running back. So it was just a great event, star power on the field. I'm already looking forward to next year's.
Speaking of next year, actually speaking of this year, one guy who did not make it to Friday Night Lights that we've talked about a lot on this show, that you crystal balled Ohio State recently, and people have followed your lead, is Cam Akers. He now leads, Ohio State now leads in the crystal ball. They've got at least 50%. I assume you're still feeling good about Cam Akers joining the fold?
Yeah, I still like Ohio State today, but let's be honest. And I think all the Bucknuts readers know that he's not the slam dunk that, we have Trayvon Grimes and Tyjon Lindsey. Like, those are crystal ball picks. Those crystal ball picks are different than the one for Akers. I think Ohio State is in the best spot for Akers right now, but Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida State, there's some serious competition there with official visits to come and a decision coming in December. So we'll see, but with Trayvon and Tyjon, the crystal ball forecasts for them are different.
They're very solid. No question. We appreciate Steve stopping by. We appreciate Emory Jones setting up a commitment schedule that fits within Steve's vacation plans. Have a good one, Bucknutters.